What's the worst you've ever been cock-blocked/beaver damned?
I was just chatting with a girl in a nightclub, making jokes, doing well, when Kelly Hrudey, TSN Pundit and retired NHL goalie, literally just stood in between us, just enough room to fit his frame, and said hello to the girl, who looked visibly confused, and turned around and said, "You're done," and turned his back to me. I was fairly drunk and half his size, recognized him immediately, so I was a mix of offended and starstruck. I just slinked away.
Back when I was 18, just out of high school, was with this woman who I knew from HS who asked me to go with her back to her place, and she was not subtle about it at all. Friend of mine overheard this and stole her wallet, as if he didn't score, no one scored. Spent 2 hours looking for the wallet until she rang her sister to take her home after he hands me the wallet, and winks saying better luck next time. Looking back, probably one of the biggest turning points of my life, as it showed me what kind of person he was.
I was waiting for a flight, was at the bar and started talking to a girl. After 3 hours of drinking and heavy flirting, she straight up told me to watch for her going to the bathroom during the flight and follow her there, and we'd join the Mile High Club. Boarding time comes, she's 20 people ahead of me in the check line. She goes on, I'm excited. I hand the gate agent my ticket. She says I've been bumped from the flight because they overbooked and I was last to book, so I'm on the next flight. I try to tell her that I have TOB on this flight because I just do. Doesn't matter. I'm off. I'm now a 21-year-old hammered guy that just almost had every dude's fantasy come true. Oh, and it's now 3 a.m. in Seattle Airport and everything is closed and I just have to sit and stare at the devil woman that just took away my heart, and I know she knows and did it on purpose. I was cock-blocked by Delta Airlines, and I will never forgive them. Ever.
Me as a 18-year-old near as damn it virgin playing D&D with my group of friends aged 18 to 23. I started to get on really well with his 23-year-old single neighbor who was part of the gaming group. After a few gaming sessions she got cold on me, and the insecure me just passed it off as another rejection. A few years later my best mate who was the dungeon master told me he'd warned her off me as she would have eaten me alive, and I didn't deserve that. Damn it, I wanted to be eaten alive by her. Worst ever cock block ever, and I'm 50 now.
I was at a sorority party, and this girl I was vibing with takes me by the hand and leads me upstairs to find a private spot. My friend sees this and literally grabs me halfway up the stairs and says we have to go and drags me out of the party. I was pretty faded and trusted his judgment in the moment. We make it out to the street and I ask him what's going on. He tells me he was saving me from hooking up with that girl who he felt was not up to par. I was so lit I didn't care, and then we proceed to wrestle out on the street as I am trying to go back inside. We never made it back inside the party.
I was at a party in college and had a good conversation with a girl a few times in the past, and she was at this party. Whole night we are hanging out, few kisses here and there. General attraction to each other. We're playing beer pong and doing well. I put my arm around her waist, and she puts her hand in my back pocket while the other team is shooting. I had a condom in the pocket. She pulls it out, giggles and says, "We're gonna need this later." Well, later came about 30 seconds later when her ex showed up at the party, and they left about 20 minutes later. 30 minutes later I checked my pocket for the condom, and it was gone. She stole the condom I brought to hook up with her ex. What a wild ride that was.
My girlfriend and I were quietly trying to get it going one night, and my roommate's boyfriend decided to leave his laptop loudly playing the sound of a baby crying outside my bedroom to shut off our libidos. I'm still fairly certain this is because he and my roommate weren't having sex yet, and it was his way of taking it out on us.
Met this girl at a wedding. We were both in the wedding party. Started talking to her at a bar we went to after the rehearsal dinner. Was about to ask her for her number when her twin brother came over and stood with us for the rest of the night.
Was at a bar and a woman starts coming up to me and we start chatting. Woman is clearly interested in me and is kissing me and whispering sweet nothings into my ear, so I ask her if she wants to go for a walk on the beach and she agrees. Right as we are leaving the bar, a man walks up and asks what we are doing. Bear in mind, neither of us knew who he was. We tell him we are going for a walk on the beach and he promptly decides to join us for our walk and literally does not leave our side for the next 2 hours. I wanted to explode.
On a lunch break in high school, and a girl who I had been flirting with quite a bit asked where I was going for lunch and I responded my place. She then gave me a look and asked if she could join. We were just getting into the parking lot when a friend saw and ran over to ask if he could come. I felt awkward about the whole thing so said sure. He then yelled shotgun to sit next to me on the drive to my place. I then proceeded to make them both grilled cheese and soup. Very disappointing lunch break.
The worst is the time I cock-blocked myself. On my 21st birthday at my favorite club at university, I was dancing with a girl and after kissing she asked me where I lived. At which point I noticed my friends had left so I drunkenly made my excuses and went and found them in the chicken shop for some fried food to soak up the booze. Well done me.
My best friend at the time, from high school to early 20s, would be terrible when we were around new guys or anyone she thought was cute. She was very flirty and loud, always needed all eyes on her. I was not, am still not that way. I was talking to a guy at a party, he seemed smart and genuine. We were talking about our favorite authors and she walked up and said, "I don't know why you're talking to her about this, she can't even read," and then she started flirting with him hard. So I walked away. I'm pretty sure they slept together.
I will share my own. I was living in my college dorm on campus and had met a girl at a party earlier that night. We headed back to my dorm room and we were making out when suddenly the fire alarm went off. When we stepped out of the dorm, there was water flooding down the elevator and stairs from 2 floors above. Some drunk idiot decided to punch one of the sprinklers and broke it off the wall, flooding from the 6th floor down and causing over $1 million in damages. The girl left back to her own dorm in a different building on campus and I had to stay with a friend for 3 days while they did disaster cleanup. The person who broke the sprinkler was expelled from the university and had to pay the insurance deductible for the building, which totaled to about $150,000. This was only a month into his first year of college. Never met up with that girl again. Edit, this happened at the University of Regina in Saskatchewan, Canada.
My husband and I, before we got married, were taking advantage of the 20 minutes I had before I had to leave for work when someone knocked on our door. We didn't answer. Then we hear someone using a key to enter our home. It was my husband's old roommate, who I already fucking despised, using his old key long after he'd moved out to welcome himself into our home to look for something he might have left in storage. I'm still mad.
I was at the bar one night and had a girl into me. We started making out, somewhere out back, and I realized she was way too gone to consent. Told her as much. Bam, diabetic seizure. Had to call an ambulance.
Me and my ex were having a morning quickie before work and just as things were starting up our roommate banged on the door freaking out because there was a roach in her bathroom and she needed me to kill it. Mood was dead when I returned LOL.
I was dating a girl that was also on board the same Navy ship as I, at sea, and we were in a locked room getting a little frisky. I had just gotten inside her when the man overboard alarms go off. After the half hour it took to settle that out, we returned to the locked room to continue where we left off. Not 5 minutes later, the alarm went off again because everyone on the ship took too long the first time and apparently we needed to do I again. We gave up after the second time. Been married to her for 17 years now.
Camrose, Alberta. Doug and the Slugs concert. I was in the taxi with the cute girl and her friends. My piece of shit friend pulled me out and made me wait with him and the others waiting for taxis. One thing led to another and the next thing you know I am in a flagpole climbing contest. I broke the pole. Nearly my back too, got arrested and never saw the cute girl again. Fuck you, Adam.
My brother used to regularly enter my room when I was with my high school boyfriend. Several times we were in the throes. He would just barge in and fucking stand there. We were naked under the covers, so we would just scream at him until he left, which made him laugh and made us angrier. Thankfully this was 10 years ago, my brother is much more considerate and the boyfriend is now an ex. But it still pisses me off to think about. Edit, I envy those of you who had locks on your bedroom doors. It's not really the norm for rented units, in my experience.
He had me tied up in his bedroom for some kinky fun. His toddler daughter, who we had put to bed an hour earlier, and made sure she was sound asleep, came bursting through the door screaming "Pooh" because she was potty training, and would yell that when she had to go. Now I'm tied up and gagged. He's in the bathroom getting ready. She is pooping her diaper and thinking we're playing some game. We did not have sex that night.
Out with a group of friends, and I started chatting up a little cutie that came with another guy's GF. It was going well. She even said something about me going with her to make an appearance at some friend's party across the street so we could keep the combo going. One of my younger buddies walked over to talk to me and said something in his stupid Scottish accent, and that was pretty much it. She swooned and started talking to him, and I accepted defeat.
My boyfriend and I were planning to ride our motorcycles a few hours north to a little touristy town, eat at our favorite Mexican restaurant, and spend the weekend in an old-fashioned lakeside motel. I told a friend of mine about this plan the morning before we left. That evening, when boyfriend and I are seated at the restaurant and enjoying our meal, suddenly said friend appears beside our table. She had hitchhiked 250 miles to get there, in spite of the fact that she had not been invited to join us. She also had no money on her, and no way of getting back home. So we reluctantly let her spend the weekend with us. If this were to happen to me now, I would have no problem politely yet assertively telling my friend that she would not be joining us on our weekend getaway. But at the time I was like 22 years old and still had a lot to learn about standing up for myself with people who have no sense of boundaries.
I had really hit it off with this lady in a bar in Hawaii in my late 20s. We were talking all night and enjoying drinks. One thing led to another, and we ended up making out. Then some lady taps me on the shoulder and very indignantly yells, "Steven, how dare you cheat on your wife like this while she's sick in the hotel? I'm disgusted with you," and storms off. My name isn't Steven, nor was I married or even dating anyone at the time.
Back in high school, a girl asked me out, and I mindlessly replied that I have no time since I have a World of Warcraft raid in the afternoon. 15 years later, I still think about this. She was the prettiest girl in class and I actually liked her. Why did I crush her like that? I don't know.
In high school, my friend threw a house party, and when me and my boyfriend retired to the guest room, some friends rolled up a big-ass speaker to the door and played "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" Then proceeded to go through the entire Lion King soundtrack *edit to add, "No, we did not fuck that night, LMAO. Performance anxiety is a real bitch."
I brought a girl back to my dorm and texted my roommate that we needed some privacy. So we're lying on the bed, about to put on a movie, and he comes barging in, piss drunk, holding a sloppy Joe sandwich. No plate, no paper towel, the meat's dripping out all over the place. He turns on the light and says, "Oh hey, what are you two doing?" I say, "We're just talking." He sits on his bed and says, "I like to talk, what are we talking about?" At that point he takes a bit out of his sandwich, and all the meat slides out the back all over the front of his pants. The girl says she's just gonna head out. Roommate passed out a little after that. I put in my headphones and watched Fellowship of the Ring on my laptop.
Was literally naked about to hook up with a guy I had been chatting long distance with for a few months. Friend liked him suddenly and burst in, crying. He felt guilty, and went to comfort her. I went to bed. She guilt-tripped him into dating for almost 2 years, LOL.
I remember getting invited to a party where I didn't know anyone except the 2 people I came with. Spend the night vibing with a cute girl, finally invite her up to the roof with me. As we're literally walking out the door, some asshole screams, "Hey, where are you going with him? He's totally gonna try and hook up with you." The girl gets all embarrassed and avoids me the rest of the night. I ended up in some dude's room playing Rock Band with 3 other guys trying to avoid the main party.
There was a local musician I had a thing for. Went to see him play one night with a good friend. On his way out, he forgot something, so I grabbed it and ran into the parking structure to take it to him. We started talking and somehow, I ended up sitting on the back bumper of his truck, caged in by his hands on the tail. Not in a creepy way, in a very intense/attraction way. He's talking about a party at his house for a friend's birthday and how he /should be leaving, as he's leaning toward our mouths or RIGHTHRFUCKNGCLOSE, and my friend comes out of the club, screeches my name and yells, "You better not be hooking up with name in the parking structure, you bitch," and laughs. /Q record screech / mood broken. Never got another chance with him again. He ended up marrying and divorcing some girl he met on a world tour and then moved out of state to find himself.
Went over to a girl's house, was supposed to be just us for the night. I was stoked, I was finally gonna lose the card, until her parents came home literally like 5 minutes after I arrived. Thank God we didn't start anything prior, but total mood killer. Then my dumbass virgin brain couldn't get creative enough, because she's allergic to dogs and I've got one at home. Also my mom's home. I literally had a truck. I could have just thrown all my garbage in the half cab and reclined a seat. It's easier when you don't know what you're missing. LMFAO.